O se o negod galele negod jiged kohig wade dawadon.
Chigun chigeyo galas tawadon galele kinsko kohig chigedo.
All right, so welcome to Cherokee 3 here at RSU TV. This kohig jo'ine chalage de lo quest is the third Cherokee lesson, right? And we're really happy to have Miss Peggy Gertie Flute here with us today. She is a first language speaker, and she's helping us navigate this traditional Cherokee story about the possum. Mm-hmm. And so we've made our way through. We're not going as fast as we have with other stories, but the reason why is because we are kind of talking a little bit more about the words themselves and the whys and wherefores. How come it ends in this sound, or how come this sound is stuck on there, or whatever. So we're not explicitly teaching grammar, but we're still talking about how the words change depending on what we want to say. So come. Idalena talagi idiwoni. All right, so first we're going to do our reading practice, and this comes from the Cherokee Primer again, and we're still in the easy stages. So looks oh gosh. Okay, sure. So this one should be fun. Most of these words I know, but there are a couple of words on here I don't know. So this will be brand new for me. So first of all, we have right up here at the top, we have this gentleman's hat. And if we read it, it says, Ali Sque Du Won. Which I always get wo and ka mixed up because they look a lot alike.
They do.
Okay, but fortunately this word I knew. So it's to read it. It says Ali sque du wo, but we usually say al sque tu wo.
Right.
Okay, so al sque tu wo. All square to one, and that can be this kind of hat. It can be like a cowboy hat, right?
Right.
A lady's church hat, maybe. But
and see, I say all square towel.
All square towel.
You're right. But it all square towel, and it has to do with the head.
I was getting ready to say it seems almost. Related to the word like to comb, a little bit. It seems like it's got some similar sounds in there somewhere.
And even for the word cap,
stulo.
Yeah, so there's some word sounds in there that tell you that it's something having to do with to put on your head, or to cover your head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stulo.
Yeah, al square tubo, and al square tubo. Yeah, I've heard that. Heard it said like al square.
But you say al square tawon. So you would instead of do, you would put the ta.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, al square tubo.
Al square tawon. Now can that? What about, you remember like a long time ago, women would wear like those bonnet looking things? Would this also be, or would that be a different word?
That you could go ahead and use alt square tobo, but I think that means more of a man's hat.
Man's hat.
And a woman's hat, altstulo. It might be more altstulo for a woman's head covering. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and it could just be because I have heard my dad. He always wore cowboy hats.
Right.
So, and he always square toe, so, and I just knew that was, my mom never wore hats. Yeah. So, had she worn a hat, we might, that might be the same thing.
Right.
For somebody that wears hats, their grandparents or their mothers wore hats, maybe going to church or whatever, they could tell us, what it was.
And that's kind of the thing, I guess, with our language and what I've noticed with first language speakers is because it is such a descriptive language, and it's very much tied to their memories
Right.
and what they
Right.
remember, you know, with the lives that they experienced. You know?
Right. That's true. That's true, because you only know what you live.
Right, yeah.
So if you didn't hear it growing up, or you never saw it, you know, growing up, you can't really
Right.
express it or say this is the word for
Yeah.
it.
And because I think, you know, the language was not as common as it was, like, let's say 1900.
Right,
You know,
right.
then kind of, to me, in my mind, I kind of picture a puddle that's kind of drying up in the sun. You know, it just kind of gets smaller
Right,
and smaller and
right.
smaller, and so. You know, had you lived in 1900 where you never heard English and you
Right,
never had to
right.
hear English, you know, your life experiences would have been different
Right.
and more varied. Is that the word? Maybe?
And too, when you think about, that alt square tubo or tubo, that's a new thing. 'Cause
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
don't I don't think that there was any.
It's 1700s,
Right?
they
No,
didn't
no,
wear them.
no. And there might have been like head coverings of some
Right.
sort, like the turbans or whatever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a hat.
Yeah,
So
and I
all
wonder
of
what
these
they
are-
would have called those.
Turbans.
Yeah.
Altschloss.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
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 And it's really, when you think about that, that's a scarf too. People
Right.
call it a scarf. But if you talk about Altschloss, that means, you put it on your head.
Yeah.
Or you wear it on your head. So.
Yeah.
And that they wore those, but as far as a hat, that was more recent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More coming with Europeans.
Right.
Yeah. And then of course this as well. This next word, galchode.
Okay.
Galchode.
Galchode.
Galchode, and that's a house.
Right.
Right.
And if you look at that house right there, we.
I don't know any Cherokee
I
that
know
lives
that's
in a
what I
house
was
like
gonna- I was
that.
getting ready to say. That is a house, but it's not something that
Yeah.
the Cherokees would
Yeah.
have lived in.
Now, maybe Rich Joe Van.
Right.
Maybe,
Yeah.
like what,
True.
actually it kind of looks like.
And that might be his hat right there too.
Yeah, I don't know many
Yeah,
Cherokees that wear a
right.
hat like that either. So, but yeah, and it kind of reminds me, when we went back east and we visited
Right.
the Van
Yeah,
house,
yeah.
kind
It
of looks
did
like
look
his
like
house.
that. Yeah, that's true. And that might be where whoever did this primer might have.
Gotten it from.
yeah, gotten it
could
from,
very well
yeah,
could have been.
yeah.
So, the next one, Jusadone. And so Jusadone, that Jew sound lets us know that they're talking about more than one
Right.
of them, right? So, and it's literally means it's hollow, right?
Yeah.
On the inside,
Yeah.
there's nothing on the inside.
Sadoni.
Sadoni.
Yeah. Jusadoni.
So
Yeah.
that would be our word for barrels.
Right.
More than one.
More than one. Yeah.
Jusadone. So, and of course, as we see in the picture here, there's more than one barrel.
Okay.
Right. So, this is interesting. So, because we actually had just had this discussion. So here, they say this is tlu gun e. Tlu gun e. Tlu gun. Which is one way to say tree. Tlu gun. Very rarely you don't hardly hear that word anymore.
Well, the first time I heard that word was when we were back at North Carolina, Cherokee. We were all sitting under a tree at the Van House. No, it wasn't, maybe it wasn't the Van House. It was where that spring is.
Oh,
What do they call that?
Red clay? Was
no,
it red clay?
no, it wasn't Red Clay. It was right there close to in
Oh,
in
Spring
Georgia.
Place, Mission?
Yes, right there. We were there, and we were with the Eastern Band. They were some of their kids was with us. We was all sitting under a tree, and one of the kids said something about the tree, and I can't remember that lady's name. Not Myrtle, the other one that's she still, is real prominent with the Eastern Band. Junaluska.
Yeah, Marie.
Yeah, Marie. Yeah, she was the one. She said we call it tluka, tluka, and that's the eastern name for tree.
Yeah.
I said, and over in our area it's ilka'i.
East.
Ilka'i.
Yeah.
And it sounds the same. It still has that sound in there, tluka. And we were kind of discussing some of the words that were North Carolina old Cherokee words,
Yeah.
as opposed to when we moved over there. We took
different.
some of it,
Yeah.
but not all of it.
And the crazy thing is, there are people in J that use the word
Okay.
tluka.
Okay.
There are certain families that use that word
Right.
tluka instead
Yeah.
of ilka.
Ilka, yeah.
Yeah, which is weird. I
Yeah,
mean, that's kind
yeah.
of crazy.
And just like with anything, you bring over what you know. I
Yeah.
mean, like they probably heard that from their family along the line,
Yeah.
so that's how they heard it. And other people, heard it a different way. So,
And somebody once told me, and I want to say it was Rob Doherty, but I'm not 100% sure. But when we were talking about the difference between ilka and tluka, whoever it was, they told me, they said, well, a long time ago, the whole word was iltluka. And
okay.
so some communities shortened it tluka, some communities shortened it ilka.
Okay.
And that's how, but they said originally it comes from the same word.
Right,
It comes from
right.
it was just shortened differently in different
okay.
in different places.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. That and I can see how that would happen.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
even in ilka there's
Yeah.
still that
Yes. Yeah.
in there.
In there. It's the same as that tluka.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I could see. I was
Okay.
like, yeah, it makes sense to
Yeah.
me. So.
Yeah.
So just be aware
Yeah,
as a learner.
right.
You may hear tluka, you may hear ilka. Probably back east, you may even hear something even different, because I know a lot of times, especially in Kuala, they don't use the tl sounds a lot,
okay,
and so they replace it with like the t sound. So
Well, I do remember when we first went down there to Cherokee, they had a lot of sh sounds.
yeah.
In their Oshio,
Yeah.
how they would say it. And, I mean, that didn't really make that much difference, but I could really tell the difference in, when the words that they would say had that sound in a lot of their words.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we have it in some words, but
Yeah,
not
yeah.
as hard in it, like ashug.
Yeah.
We kind of have that shug,
yeah.
but
And I didn't notice that until I was teaching my elementary kids, and they will mimic exactly what you say.
Absolutely.
And what they hear.
Yeah.
And I was hearing a lot of sh sounds whenever they would say it back to me, and I was thinking, is that what it sounded like when I said it to them? And when I would say it again, and try not to be so, with
Shane.
it. Yeah, then they would say it back the way that I said it the second time. But I was thinking, okay, so when I just say it, I probably have that sh sound in there.
I think for us in Oklahoma, it's there.
Yeah.
It's just not as pronounced.
Right, right.
Because I've kind of noticed the same thing. Of course, I lived in North Carolina for a year, and stuff. And of course, the very first thing you notice is the
Right,
difference in
right.
the sh,
Yeah.
the shio,
Yeah.
and stuff. And so I was like, well, we don't say that. That's crazy. That's strange. But then the more I started listening to speakers, I was like, well, it kind of is in there.
Yeah,
We just
yeah.
don't do it as pronounced. You know.
Right.
But it
if
is.
you just speak, if you just say it and not really think about what you're saying, then you do have it in there. But if you're
Yeah.
reading it and you say OCO, you want to say that strictly C sound in there,
Yeah.
with really OCO. And it has it kind of like a s sound,
Yeah.
that SH sound in there.
Yeah, because if you hear if you hear somebody and they say OCO,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, well, you're a learner.
Yeah, right.
Because a speaker, there is that kind of
Right.
OCO, and there is
Yeah.
just slightly that.
And a speaker will be able to tell the
To
difference.
pick it
of
up, yeah. And they may not be able to say, well, that's why, but
Right,
they're like, well, it
right.
doesn't sound quite right.
Right.
Or like the O sound, 'cause a lot of speakers, it's more like
Right,
up in
right,
here, on.
Yeah.
Whereas learners, the
Oh, yeah. That's true.
wado.
Yeah. And I try to teach my kids it's the O. It's O instead
Yeah.
of O,
Yeah.
So whatever I say, I try to say it the way that it's, so they will hear it
Right.
the way that it needs
And
to be.
it'll just become second nature
Right,
to them,
right.
because that's how it was for
Right,
you. You
right.
just monkey see, monkey
Yeah,
do, right? You just
exactly.
repeat what your mom and dad said,
Yeah.
and that kind
That's
of
all
thing.
you heard, so that's all you could repeat
Right.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's the same with ooh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times you'll hear learners who are just starting out, they really, use their mouth a
Yeah,
lot more,
yeah,
ooh,
yeah.
kind of thing. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
that's not quite right,
Yeah, that's true.
But can't really tell you
Yeah.
why it's not right, ooh.
Yeah, ooh, yeah. Or they'll say ooh, and it's
Yeah.
ooh.
Yeah.
There's a difference there.
Slight
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah, you don't use your lips as much
Yeah.
if you ooh,
And my grandma and grandpa, they always used to laugh. And they would say, well, a Cherokee speaker can talk for 5 minutes and never move their lips.
And that is true. That is true.
Yeah. I think Cherokees would make great ventriloquists. So, they don't chew on their words
Right,
so much,
right.
as we do in English. So, and then the next one, this word I love, ulisquiti.
Okay.
Ulisquit.
Ulisquit.
Ulisquit, and of course we can see here it's a cup, and it's particularly talking about this part, right? The
Right.
handle,
Yes.
ulisquit, and it has something to do with your ear, right?
Right.
So ulisquit, and the only reason why I love this word so much is because it reminds me of when we did probably CTE way back in the beginning of things, and we had that story about the little boy
yes.
named Usti
Right.
Ulisquit.
Yeah.
Little cup.
Yeah.
Usti Ulisquit.
Ulisquit. Yeah.
And we would kind of laugh and so Ulisquit, it really is referring to the ear, right?
Right. And the handle of that cup, ulisquit,
The
is
shape.
Yes.
That shape.
Exactly.
Okay. Ulisquit.
Ulisquit.
And then
It's kind of like that to me. That means like something with the big ear.
yeah.
Ulisquit,
Yeah.
So when you think about that, that's what it's the shape of it, and that's how I try to, teach my students when I'm talking about like the plate and the cup and all that stuff. Is there's something about these words that if you can, kind of put something about what you're talking about to the word, it's easier to remember.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I, try to teach them, and some of them can grab that, and some of them can't.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that's just kind
Yeah.
of where they are in their journey, I
Right,
guess, and,
right.
and probably even a little bit in how their brain functions,
Right,
how their brain
right.
works, and so this next word, and let's see if I get it right.
Okay.
So we have ga, lu, yi, sti.
Okay.
And in the picture here, it looks like a hatchet or an axe. So galuisti.
Galust.
Yeah, the yi is not really in there except for the y part, right?
Yeah,
Galust.
galuy. You kind of hear that galust.
Galust.
Yeah, that y.
Yeah, it's
in
there, but
yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, galust. Yeah,
Yeah, galust.
yeah.
That's another one of those
Yeah,
words
that you have to have that sound in there, but it's not. You're not really. I mean, it's in there, but you don't know which sound for real if it is galust.
Yeah.
It just has that y sound in there,
Yeah.
and I guess that's
Because you wouldn't say galusti.
no.
That's not it.
Galuyisti.
And you don't say it that way, yeah.
No, galust.
Yeah, so it's
Galust.
kind of in between.
Yeah.
And then this word I did not know. This is a brand new word for me. Ga-ta-nu-ga-di. Now, looking at the picture, it looks like a top to me. Ga-ta-nu-ga-di. Gatanugud. Gatanugud. I don't really know how you would say it because I don't know the word for top, like a spinning top. How would you?
I'm not sure. I never really. That might be another research thing.
Yeah.
Got to know good.
Got to know good.
And it had. I don't know. I never really
Knew that
never
word.
knew that
Yeah.
word. Never had a spinning top.
Right.
But I have seen pictures of them, but never really put the Cherokee word to it.
Right.
And it might have to do something with the what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Get to know good.
Maybe we'll ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this one, of course, in the picture, it looks like a net. Aga-ya-lu-di.
Okay.
Aga-lu-di. How would you say a net? I don't know the word for net either, so it's a brand new word for me.
Again, that looks like a fisherman's, maybe a net.
Aga-ya-lu-d.
Agayalud. And then something
that kinda
like
sounds
that, yeah.
like a something.
Agayaludi. That does sound kind of like some kind of
A dipper.
a seine or something like that,
Yeah.
Agayalud.
Aga-ya-lu-d.
But again, we didn't go fishing, we didn't have nets, we didn't, do anything,
Yeah.
so I don't even remember hearing that word.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
like you said, once you said it, Agaya-lud, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's starting to kind of
Right.
make a little more sense.
Agayaludi.
Agaya-ludi. Yeah. So,
Well, today is some new words that
Yeah.
I need to think about researching.
well, and
Yeah.
and again, we only know the words
Yeah.
that of the life around us.
Right, right.
And
And if this is a primer, this is for
Yeah.
second and third grade, you said, or what?
Yeah.
For first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and of
it
course,
is, again, like you're saying, if you were around these things, or if you had these things, or you were, then it would be words that you understood.
Right.
And I probably have heard these words, but it's been a long time since I've heard them.
right,
You
not
know,
like you
to-
go seining for minnows every day or
that's
anything
true.
like that.
Yeah, or now the only we do have nets, but we don't fish with them. The nets
Right.
that we have,
Yeah.
George catches his chickens with them.
Yeah. And do you ever refer to the chicken net in Cherokee? Do you call it net?
We just call it a net.
Yeah.
See, and he's never
Yeah.
really
But a
said.
net is a easier word.
Right,
Than,
right.
Than Agayalud.
Yeah, and see, I'm sure that's the more I'm hearing that it is a word for something, and I don't know if it's that kind of a net, catch but it is some kind of a screen like thing.
Yeah. Like a sift.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. And that might be like a
interesting.
sifter.
Yeah,
Maybe,
that's
and
why I wondered about that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
Because whenever I said that, I was like, oh, I wonder because we used to have baskets
Right,
that
right.
did that job.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, could be.
we're gonna have to research.
Right,
That's interesting.
exactly.
Yeah. So just to let you guys know, as learners, nobody knows everything.
Right, right.
Probably even Durbin got stumped from time to time. Chicasa.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but and this is like I said, this is 1850s. And so the lives of somebody who lived in the
Right.
1850s is very different than the
Right.
lives we live today. But still, it's good to know
Right,
to know
exactly.
these things.
Yeah.
So. All right, so again, hopefully you remember what this is called. Shikwa ujetst. And then taladu. And so would you go ahead and get us caught up? Would you go ahead and read the story up to the point where we...
Okay.
And help me try to find where that was, where we left off.
Okay. Ilahiyu chigesa. Shikwa ujetsti ehe.
Okay, and so those of you that are following along, try to, as she says it, try to think about where we're at in the story. So, you don't necessarily have to think about what the translation for every word is, but kind of know where we are. Okay.
Toyu uvodu kese kanidata.
Okay. So hopefully you got close to that.
Kanidata Nicola Arthur Whiskey Sikujesti.
Okay. Okay. Ulsinösa Kanidata Tawoske. It still has that Y in there. Oh, it does.
Yeah. Not that it caused me to mess up. I mess up on my own. Alekigage ost kalawestisko kanidata.
Okay.
Ugijiska ajege alskisi dohe kanidata alihelige dekanogiska.
Okay. And I think that was the last.
Right, I think
that
so.
was our
I think
last
that's
one.
where we stopped.
Okay. At dawn, he would wake up, and then he'd dance and sing about his tale. Okay. Just real quickly, I want to talk about this al ski si don he, because we were talking about the difference between al ski ske and al ski si don he. It brought to mind the word like gansin,
Okay.
to drag something, right? Gansin.
Gansin.
And gansini dola, and gansini dola, that's like they're dragging it around, right?
Gansini do he.
Gansini do he.
Yeah.
He was dragging it around.
Yeah. So are you wanting to say he was dragging it right now? Gansini don't. Gansini don't.
Gansini don't.
Yeah.
Gansini don't.
Okay.
That
Yeah. Okay. Gansin. He's dragging. Okay. Gansini don't he. He's dragging it around.
Dragging it around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that on he, it means like in different places,
Yes,
right? It's
right.
like not all in one spot.
Right. Yeah. Dragging it around all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I was trying to think of another word that we could use to talk about doing it, around, he was walking around. Can you say that?
All easy, that's walking, right?
Yeah.
All ease, walking, all easy. Edoli dohe. You could say he was going different places. Edoli dohe.
Yeah.
That means he was walking around in different places. Not walking around in a circle, but he was going to different locations.
Different spots.
Yeah.
What about flying?
Okay.
That was one I've heard.
Okay.
Ganohil, right?
Yeah, ganohil. That's flying. Ganohili dohe.
He's flying around.
Flying around.
From
yes.
different spots,
Right.
different places.
Right.
Okay. So this is just to let you guys know how that works.
Right.
Ganohili don or ganohili don he.
Yeah. He was flying around.
Flying around.
Yes.
Okay. The next one. Okay. Oh no, we did this one too. Yeah. Go ahead.
Negada klar. You do ni lokte. Artloguiska. Artloska. Artloska.
Yeah. They didn't
I'm trying to read it the way you have it written down there.
No one liked his bragging.
Yeah, no
right?
one liked him bragging. everyone. The
Yeah.
God.
Yeah,
yes,
everyone.
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 Yeah.
Everyone didn't like his bragging. Okay, now, so, de lo quasti dun,
Okay.
de lo quasti dun, du ni wuk tane, una de
Yo.
hyo di.
Di.
Is it yo or hyo?
It's unde hyoti.
Unde hyo
Yeah.
di. Okay. Adelo quasti dun, adelo quasti dun.
Adel quasti dun.
Adele quasti dun. Teach him.
Yeah, a lesson. Okay. Adel
A
quasti.
lesson.
A lesson. Uh-huh.
Adele quasti dun. Duni wuk tane. They decided.
Yes. Yes.
They decided. Un de hyoti.
That's the teaching part right there.
De hyo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the de hyo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Is teach.
Yeah.
And the una, they.
Yeah. Yeah.
If only one person was doing the teaching, ude hyoti.
Yes. Yes.
Ude
Yeah.
hyoti. And the hyoti, that's to teach, right?
Right.
Like that's unde hyo he or unde hyo ha. How would you change it if it wasn't? If you're going to say they taught him?
Unde hyo. Let's see.
Unde hyo skan. Unde hyo skan.
It won't be
No?
unde. Let's see. Donde hyo huska.
No.
Donde hyo huska, like they were teaching.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unde hyo skan.
Yeah.
So they decided to teach him a lesson. Would you go ahead and read that for
Okay.
us?
Adel quasti dun. Duni wuk tane. Duni wuk tane. Unde hyoti. Okay, let's do it again.
Okay.
Adel quasti dun. Dunuk tane. Unde hyoti.
And so you kind of put the dunuk
Yeah,
tane.
yeah,
Dunuk
dunuk tane. Yeah.
Okay. And this ta la du wu ni ta hyo ple
Okay.
go husti u da na di. Okay. So ta la du
Taladu.
wu ni wun ta hyo ple wun ni ta hyo ple.
Wuni tayole. Wuni tayole. They
So
went and
cricket, they asked. They asked. Go hoost something. Udante to do.
Yeah.
So they asked the cricket to do something.
Right.
Okay. Would you read that?
Okay.
Well, let me go ahead and put the English there. So.
Taladu wuni tayole. Go hoost udante.
Okay. So taladu wuni tayotle go hoost udante. Okay, udante is probably a review. You've probably heard that one before. I think we've had it in, but I don't know that we've ever had this word to ask.
Yeah.
So,
Wuni
wuni tayotle.
tayole. You could just say wun tayole.
Wun tayotle.
Yes.
Okay, wun tayotle.
Tayole.
Then it says usa nulistana. Okay, usa nulstana.
Nustan.
Nulstan taladu wuluchi ute ujetsti. Because I was like ujetsti. That doesn't make sense. Ujetsti. Juwenase.
Okay.
Juwenase. Okay. So usa nulstan taladu wuluchi ujetsti juwenase. Would you read that one for us?
Okay. Usa nulstan. Taladu wuluche. Ujesti, Juenos. Now I would say
Juenos.
Juenos, yeah. Juenos, but that makes sense too. Wuluche, Ujets, Juenos.
Yeah. So either way.
Either
in
way,
that
yeah,
case.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So usa nulstan. When night came, when night happened,
Yes,
nulstan means to
nulstan.
happen, right? So when night happened, taladu the cricket, wulu che, he arrived.
Are you
Wuluche.
Wuluch? When he got there, when he got to his house, are you saying he went to his house?
So I don't know, let's find out.
Okay, okay.
That night, the cricket went
Okay,
to,
so, okay. Usanulstan talad wuluche
Wuluche.
ujets juenos.
Okay. Yeah, he went to his place,
Talad wuluchi. Because you're saying when he got there. If you say wuluchi, you're saying when he got there. But you're wanting to say he went there. He was going there, right?
yes.
Okay.
So this should be Wuluche.
Yes.
Wuluche.
Talad wuluch. Wuluche.
And
Wuluche.
Wuluchi means when he got there.
Right.
Ah.
Yeah. Wuluchi means when he got there.
When he got there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and, now watch, I'm not going to remember to change it on anything else, and it's going to be weird, but we'll just know. Okay, usa nulstan taladu wuluche, wuluche,
Wuluche.
wuluche, ujetsti, juenase, or juenasa, either way, okay. And that says, that night the cricket went, wuluche can be went or arrived, right? It means he got there, right?
Right.
And that's, to me, that's an interesting word. To me, it's used a lot more in Cherokee than it is in English. Like when we would, in English, when we would say like he went somewhere, you know, in Cherokee, depending on how it means, they would say, well, he arrived somewhere, because
Okay.
that's, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
You know, like, because really went would be like, I don't know, like huena or,
If you tell someone they went, unilose.
yeah.
That's another word,
Right,
unilose.
yeah.
Yeah.
Unilose.
Yeah, they went.
Yeah, they went
Yeah.
there, yeah.
Yeah, unilose.
Yeah, but in this case, you wouldn't really say that, though, wulose, because we're really talking about
When he arrived.
got there,
Yeah,
when he got
there. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but and that's why I mean that in Cherokee, the language is a lot more precise, because in English they just, well, it
just
says
say
right here, it
they
said
went. Yeah.
we went,
Yeah.
but that's not really what we mean.
Right. Right.
And in Cherokee, you have to
Right.
know. It's like, well,
Right.
did they go there or did they
they
arrive
drive
there?
there? Right.
Because it's two different things. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, but well, let's just play the. So if you said usanus tan taladu wulose ujetjuena, say, would that make sense?
Okay, you're saying usanulstan when he got night.
Yeah.
Talad wulose. He went towards Ujetjuena, so he went towards the possum's house.
Yeah, he went.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, he went in that
He
direction.
went in that direction. Wulose. He went in that direction.
Yeah.
So you can say that.
Yeah, but it slightly changes.
Right.
To a Cherokee speaker, it slightly changes the story.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you're putting it in Wulose like I want to say like the present tense or whatever, but it's not really the present tense, past tense, or whatever. It's just a certain way that you put in there that it changes what the cricket did.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Because that way that it's talking about the act of going that way, but really in the story he's getting there.
He's getting there
because he's going to do something
Yeah. So he could do something.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. That's what makes the difference.
Yeah.
is that what he's going to do when he gets there.
Right. Yeah.
And that's and people, they think, oh my gosh, because I remember when Imogene, whenever she
Yeah.
would ask, well, what about this? Would say, well, is it the brother? And then she'd say, oh my gosh, no, let's just don't forget that. Just forget that. She'd say, because you have to know, the details of what you're
Yeah.
asking before we can tell you what it is.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And finally she figured it out. I think that's what we had to know all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because we'd ask her 10 questions about what she was asking one question about.
Yeah, but in Cherokee again,
Right,
you have to know all
right.
that information because it's contained
Right.
in that one word. It's telling you, all of that stuff.
And we wonder why Cherokee is so hard to
I know,
to
right?
learn.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but you can do it.
Yes,
it can be done.
Yes, it can.
But we just wanted to illustrate, that wulo say literally means went, but because of the way the story is put together, it makes more sense to say wulu. Say
He arrived there.
yeah,
Yes.
he arrived there because in the story. Well, let's see what happens. So he's nu one na de say nu one de say gigage ast u asti ula westa ula westa. Okay, nu one de say gigage ast ula westa. So he unwound nuwandese. He took it off.
Yes, he took it off.
Nuwandese. Gigage asked the red string ula westa that was wound around.
Yeah, that was wrapped around it. Yes.
That was wrapped.
Yes.
Okay. Would you go ahead and read that for us?
Okay. Nuwandese gigage asti ula westa.
Okay. So now we know that it makes more sense to use the word wulu.
Yes.
Because he was fixing to do something.
Yes, correct. All that to say that
that it makes more sense in Cherokee to use that word. So, and again, I believe that this is where it's so important to hear first language speakers telling these stories, because a second language learner or might not be able to intuit the difference unless they've heard a lot of spoken Cherokee.
Right.
But eventually, because as I was reading through that, it made sense to me. I understood because I've heard, speakers enough that I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
it didn't even cross.
It made sense to you.
Yeah, it made sense.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas, and so anyway, that just to say, that it's really important to hear lots and lots of input, lots of the language, because then you'll know these little things that will just click for you.
Right.
And you won't have to think about, oh, well, is it more important that they're arriving there or that they're going there, or
And see, as a speaker, I never really thought how much a difference it made, just those words that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I just knew that that's what it was.
Right, yeah.
And I didn't have to explain to anybody, nor did they have to explain to me what it was, because that's just what I heard.
Right.
And when I started teaching, that's when I had to really figure out, okay, why is it like this? And I wanted to say, I don't know, but I had to figure out in order to teach, in order to be able to explain, why it is.
Well, and that a kid's going to ask you.
Oh, yes. Yes.
If there's a chink in the armor, they're going to find it.
Exactly.
They're going to know where your weak spot is, and that's exactly where they're going to go. if there's a word that you're not real sure of, and you're like, man, well, they're not going to ask about that, then guaranteed that that's what they're going to ask. So. He unwrapped the possum's tail. All right. So I think we've got enough time to maybe go a little bit farther in the story. So we have Taladu Wu Gali Se Ujetsti. Okay. Gani Da Da. Okay. Ustik. Okay. Ustigan. But I know that it's ustika. Okay, so taladu, the cricket, wugal say he went and cut, right? He went and cut it. Ujetst ganida the ustika, the possum's tail hair, right? The
Exactly.
hair on the possum's tail.
Yes, yes.
Okay, would you go ahead and read that one for
Okay.
us?
Taladu wugal say ujetst ganida the ustika.
Okay, cut off the hair on the possum's tail. We got that one. Okay, so then it says, oh, okay. Gigage ost ula we stana gani data. Okay, so we have gigage, right? Red, ost, string. Okay, and now here's a different version of this of a word that we've had, ula we stana.
Okay.
Ula we stana. That's made it wound it up, right?
Right. Yes.
He made it coiled up, right?
Right.
He made it.
Yeah.
He
He made it go round and round. Ula waist. Tunna
Yeah.
is what when in my mind that's what it. As I'm hearing the ula waist. Tunna, he made it go round and round.
Yeah.
Gani dota.
His tail.
His tail.
His
Yes.
tail, yeah. And so, Gala West Tana, that Tana,
Ula waist. Tunna is what it says. The taladu. Yeah.
Yes.
He's the one that rapped
Did
that.
it.
Yes. Giga get ost ula waist hanna gani dota. Okay. So we know who is the one that did it, right?
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So ula waist hanna, he did that. Yes.
and that Tana, I know I've heard it in other words and stuff, and that kind of means like somebody's actively doing it, they're making it that way,
Right.
they're making it
Right.
happen.
Making it happen. Yes. Yes.
And I can't think of any other words right
Yeah.
off the top of my head that have that, but I know that we've seen it
Yes.
many times. So ula west tana, and so it's he's doing that, and we know of course by the context of the story that we're talking about talad.
Right. Right.
So would you go ahead and read that
Okay.
one more time?
Giga get ost ula waist hanna gani dota.
Okay, so he wrapped his tail in red string. So we've just got a couple minutes left. Can we talk about the reason why ula west tana is different than whenever the possum wound it himself,
his own tail. Okay. When someone else wrapped it, ula waist hanna, that means somebody else is wrapping or winding that red string.
Yeah.
Gala waist hanna. It's their own gala waist hanna.
Yeah.
Can we go back to that?
Yeah,
that
let's
word?
go ahead and go
look
back.
at the
Okay.
gala waist thing. Was it gala waist thing?
He'd wake up. Oh, he
Okay,
got a little waist.
Okay, gala waist these.
'Cause he habitually did
Yeah,
it.
he would.
Gala waist
Yeah, he
these
would do
con.
that. And then the cricket, ula waist tunna, right? He would
Yeah.
do it. He
Yeah.
would do it actually at that time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so when we come back in the next lesson, maybe we'll talk about that a little bit
Okay.
more. But we're almost out of time, so hopefully you're really getting a lot more of the wheres and why fors of the reason why words are the way they are. Up until this point in Cherokee, we've just kind of told you, well, this is it,
Yeah.
and you're just going to learn it this way. But now we're going to talk a little bit more about it. So hopefully you're getting a lot out of it. I know I'm really learning a lot, and hopefully you are too. So Peggy, I just want to say wadon for coming, and to all of you, wadon for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Don't go, honey.
Don't go, honey.